The GeForce app that Nvidia rolled out earlier this year has gotten quite a lot of praise since its debut. They're continuously adding more to it, and just recently they added a performance monitoring and also an overclocking tool that many users will find handy. What's also neat is that they state you can use this tool and not have to worry about your warranty being voided. Let's take a look at it in this video. Hey, if you enjoy content like this, drop a like, make sure to subscribe, and smash that bell so you never miss another video. Hey, what is going on guys? Danny here, welcome back to the channel and I hope you've all been doing well. There's been a lot going on this past week in the PC tech world with the recent Computex 2024 trade show, but if you were to ask me, it felt like we got a lot while at the same time getting very little, if you know what I mean. Apart from Ryzen 9000, there wasn't anything else that was substantial for the PC gaming market. I mean, sure, there were a lot of announcements pertaining to new mobile chips, lots of cases, monitors, a lot of AI in your laptop, AI on your memory, AI on your CPU cooler, but I was also hoping to see some new gaming GPUs, but it looks like we're going to have to hold out a little bit longer for those. But amongst all the Computex hype, Nvidia did also give some love to their gaming consumer base, and no, while it wasn't an RTX 5090, they did roll out some updates for the Nvidia app. Now, we've talked about the Nvidia app on the channel when it was released back in February of this year, and Nvidia's goal here is to eventually combine their archaic settings program with the GeForce Experience app, and have a unified control center for the GPUs that's more modern with respect to user interface, and provides better control for your experience. With this program, they can customize driver settings, overlays, record, and more. One of the cool new features that was rolled out alongside the Nvidia app was Nvidia's implementation of HDR for their hardware. And while many praised it for providing a better image than the built-in Windows HDR, it did have some drawbacks such as severe performance degradation. Now, to be fair, the app is still in beta, and Nvidia are taking quite a bit of feedback from the community in regards to improving it, addressing performance issues, and also adding more features. On the 4th of June, Nvidia released an update for the Nvidia app which added some more cool features such as the ability to record gameplay using the AV1 codec at 120 FPS for smoother playback. That's pretty cool, and hopefully streaming sites will start to support playback at higher FPS so both the content creators and viewers can enjoy smoother content. Additionally, Nvidia have also added a performance panel and a one-click automatic GPU tuning feature, which is what this video is mainly going to focus on. If you know me, on the channel we're always discussing overclocking tweaks and techniques to get the most out of our hardware. If there's one thing that is undeniably better with AMD Radeon drivers, it's that in their software they provide users to access a pretty extensive hardware monitoring and tuning options menu. This is something many Nvidia GPU users have been asking the company to implement in their own driver software, and I guess it's better late than never, but it's finally here. And there's definitely a lot more they can add to this, but at least it's a start. With this performance menu, users can monitor various stats of their GPU, and along with this, they now have the ability to access a one-click overclocking and automatic tuning feature. Owners of GeForce RTX desktop graphics cards and laptops can monitor and maximize the potential of their GPUs with this feature. And here's one of the best parts about this feature: Nvidia states that this will not void your warranty. In their post, they do mention how overclocking can cause your PC to become unstable or show visual artifacts, so you definitely want to stress test to validate any overclocks, but they also mention how their automatic tuning will not damage your GPU or invalidate its warranty, which is great that they mentioned this because one of the barriers is this fear many people have where they think that doing any sort of overclocking to their Nvidia GPU can cause damage or they will void their warranty. Unless you're flashing custom VBIOSes or shunt modding your GPU for power delivery, doing something extreme along those lines, then simply tuning your GPU like this within a software is not going to damage it or jeopardize its warranty. So I'm happy they at least give the users that assurance. I do have to say this isn't a totally new feature, and Nvidia has had an automatic one-click tuning feature that was included in the GeForce overlay menu, which I did make a video about a few years ago. This performance tuning seems very similar, but it looks like now the performance tuner also overclocks the GPU's memory, whereas before when I tried it on my 3090, it would only overclock the GPU core, therefore leaving some performance on the table. So we're going to be putting this one-click automatic tuning feature to the test to see how beneficial it will be when it comes to performance, and if it's a viable option for those that want to overclock their GPU but without having to dive too deeply into the whole tweaking aspect of it. To get started, what you'll want to do is head on over to Nvidia's driver page and download the latest drivers for your GPU. Next, what you'll want to do is go to the Nvidia app webpage and download the software from there, and don't worry, I'll make it easier for you guys by having all of those links in the video description description down below. Once that's done, what you'll want to do is open the Nvidia app. With this app, you'll see various options and menus where you can customize driver settings for specific games. It'll have links to other software you can download, such as the Nvidia broadcast software if you like streaming. What you'll want to do once it's open is on the left sidebar, click on System, and then in the overview page, it'll show you specs of your system. Click on the Performance tab and it'll bring you to the menu we were talking about earlier. So here you can see various stats for your GPU, the automatic tuning option, and some power limits at the bottom. You'll want to max out all the sliders at the bottom because by doing so, the automatic tuning algorithm will have the highest headroom available. Once you've done that, just click on the slider to start the automatic tuning process. What it's going to do is it's going to run a scan, and it'll do this by putting a load on your GPU, which will give it information about its silicon quality, thermals, and power headroom. This process is lengthy as it took about 25 minutes on my system, and also you want to ensure that there is nothing running in the background that can put any kind of load on the GPU, and that also includes third-party monitoring software. And when I ran it the first time, the scan kept on failing, telling me that it was interrupted, and that was also because I was using Nvidia Share or Shadowplay to record, so if you also have their instant replay feature enabled, make sure you turn that off before running this scan. Once the scan was complete, the result was that it had put a 128 MHz offset to my RTX 4090's GPU core, and this time it also overclocked by memory by putting a 200 MHz offset. Now, as I said earlier, once you've done this, you'll probably want to run a GPU stress test to validate the overclock is stable. However, I know for a fact that this overclock is 100% stable because it's quite a bit more conservative than my own manual overclock. Using MSI Afterburner, the overclock that I run on my RTX 4090 is plus 205 MHz to the GPU core and plus 1500 MHz to the memory. So while the GPU core on the automatic tuning wasn't too bad, the VRAM overclock I found was just way too passive. And before someone says that no, your memory overclock is too high, trust me, I know that these modern GPUs have error correcting memory, so I'm well aware that you can end up pushing the overclock too far without any obvious signs of instability, where then you are losing performance, but not necessarily crashing. I've gone through the whole trial error process to validate that 1500 is stable on my 4090. Also, for some odd reason, even after it had completed the test, it still says the scan was interrupted, so not sure if that's a bug they have to fix with the next update. Next, I wanted to show you guys some benchmarks so you can get a better insight on how beneficial this automatic tuning and one-click overclock really is. But before that, just a quick rundown of my test bench. For the CPU, we've got an Intel Core i9-13900K, which has its P cores at 5.7, E cores at 4.6, and the ring at 5 GHz. For the memory, we're running 48 GB of Patriot Extreme 5 DDR5 memory running at 7600 MHz with tuned timings. The motherboard is an MSI Z790 Carbon Max Wi-Fi 2. For the GPU, we've got an MSI RTX 4090 Gaming X Trio, and the games are stored on a Corsair MP600 Pro LPX 4TB drive. For the rest of the system specs, you can check the video description down below. The first test we're going to look at is 3D Mark's Port Royal, which is a synthetic ray tracing benchmark, but it does show some really good scaling with hardware and overclocks, allowing us to see the potential of each configuration. So at stock, the 4090 scores 25,805, then using Nvidia's automatic tuner, we see the score rise to 26,433, so a difference of 2%, which is minuscule, and then with our manual overclock, we get 27,514, which is a 7% increase to our stock score. So the differences aren't anything to write home about, and I wasn't really expecting anything either, as we have tested overclocking potential on this 4090 before, and it doesn't even have that much headroom to begin with. And this is evident with our gaming benchmark, where we used Cyberpunk 2077 at 4K using ray tracing, so we're really GPU bound here, and you can see the results line up with what we saw with our Port Royal benchmark. But in terms of real world FPS, it's not anything you'd really notice. Hence, I'm generally recommending to 4090 owners you're better off just undervolting and power limiting the card. So with that said, it'd be a cool feature if Nvidia adds a feature to the Nvidia app that automatically undervolts or power limits the card to make it run more efficient, because AMD I believe also have a one-click undervolt solution in their drivers. Nonetheless, this is a decent option if you're someone who's looking at extracting a bit of extra performance from your GPU, but if you don't want to delve into any sort of complex overclocking procedures, then this one-click option could be for you, and it's also nice to have as a starting point too. Now when it comes to overclocking, your mileage will vary, and while the results look quite underwhelming for my chip, there's a chance you may see even more substantial gains. So if you have an Nvidia GPU and you haven't ever overclocked it, then try this feature out using the Nvidia app. Who knows, you could see some pleasantly surprising results. Alrighty guys, so that's going to do it for this one. We'll touch base in the next video. If you guys found this video to be informative and entertaining, then leave a like. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. Be sure to check out the video description for cool links and ways to support the channel, such as using my Amazon affiliate link. And if you're interested in seeing more content like this, then consider subscribing, I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.